A lot of the cast members were already connected long before The Rookie ever existed. Some of them had worked together on completely different shows, while some of them came from the same country and followed similar paths into the television industry. Others had experience working in the exact same types of shows like crime dramas and network television. Basically, the cast of The Rookie didn't just randomly meet for the first time on set. Many of them were already moving through the same professional circles, sometimes even crossing paths on other shows years before The Rookie. So in this video, we're going to take a closer look at the real-life connections between the main cast of The Rookie. Starting with the Canada connection. Canada actually has a long history of producing actors who eventually move into American television. Nathan Fillion, Melissa O'Neill, and Shawn Ashmore are all from Canada. Nathan from Edmonton, Melissa from Calgary, and Shawn from Richmond, British Columbia. Another small connection is between Derek Augustine, who plays Miles, and Shawn Ashmore, who plays Wesley. They both have identical twin brothers who are also actors. Fans constantly confuse Shawn and his brother Aaron a lot, while other fans just didn't know that they were a twin and thought that it was just one guy playing all of these roles. Now Derek and Nathan. A small connection that Derek and Nathan have is that before joining the cast of The Rookie, Derek worked as a food delivery driver and delivered food to Nathan. During a delivery, Derek mentioned that he worked with one of Nathan's mentors and Nathan ended up tipping him $50, which was really kind of him. Nathan Fillion has been in the game for quite a while, so it's no surprise that he has a few connections. First off, the showrunner of The Rookie, Alexi Hawley. Nathan was one of the leads on the TV show Castle, and Alexi worked as a writer and showrunner on that show. Nathan also had a cameo on another show Alexi created called The Recruit. Speaking about when he got the call for The Rookie, Alexi said, "I would always work with Nathan if I could. I mean, he is not only a phenomenal actor, but he's a great guy and he's a real partner." When I got the phone call about the show, he was the first name that jumped into my mind. Then, when talking about The Recruit, he said, I called him and I said, "Hey, will you?" Before I even finished the sentence, he said, "Yes, because Nathan is such a great guy." They clearly have an amazing working relationship that spans years. Another connection Nathan has is with Richard T. Jones, who plays Gray. Before The Rookie, both Nathan Fillion and Richard T. Jones appeared on the Netflix series Santa Clarita Diet. The show itself had nothing to do with police work, but both actors had recurring roles there, meaning they had already worked within the same production environment. Nathan played Gary West, who was a realtor in the first 2 seasons, and Richard played Rick, who was a neighbor. Another connection we have is between Richard T. Jones and Alyssa Diaz, who plays Angela. They both appeared on the TV show Lucifer. While they didn't appear in the same episode, it was still within the same series. Another similar connection we have is between Mekia Cox, who plays Nyla, and Lysith Chavez, who plays Selena. One appeared on Chicago Med, while the other appeared on Chicago PD, and while it's not the same show, it was in the Chicago universe. Another small connection is between Mekia and Jenna, who plays Bailey. Both of them come from dance-heavy backgrounds. Jenna was a professional dancer long before acting, but Mekia also studied music and dance and performed in touring musical productions. Mekia toured with Michael Jackson, and Jenna started her career as a backup dancer for Janet Jackson. Mekia also has a connection with Eric Winter, who plays Tim. They starred together on a show called Secret and Lies. She played Amanda Warner, who was a criminal attorney in season 2 of the show, while he played Neil Oliver. Then we have Eric Winter and Jenna Dewan, who have the strongest connection because they actually shared screen time years before The Rookie on a show called Witches of East End. The show is basically the complete opposite of The Rookie. It's about a supernatural family, and Jenna played Freya while Eric played Dash. At the beginning of the first season, they're engaged, but that doesn't last long because by the end of the same season, they're no longer together. The show was canceled after 2 seasons, and although they had great chemistry on that show, Bailey and Tim hardly have any interactions on The Rookie. When you really look at it, The Rookie didn't just get lucky with casting. This is a show built on connections that were already there. Actors who had worked together before, or actors who had already spent years in the same types of shows, building the exact skills this series needed. When you bring all of that together, the result is a cast that doesn't feel like strangers trying to become a team. It feels like a group that already understands each other, which is probably why the chemistry on The Rookie feels so natural seasons later, even as new characters are introduced. If you've spotted any other links between the cast that I missed, let me know below. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in my next video.